right? Reflecting on if one of our limiting beliefs that we brought with us from childhood still applies to us is fundamentally life changing, right? Because this is a lens through which we see the world, right? So, how can we take a more forensic approach to the things that actually impact our worldviews? In episode 0, we talked about the manosphere content a little bit, and we had some questions and some really good ones about how we can see if these things are actually worth holding to be true in any scenario. And so it goes like, does this actually reflect reality? Like, does my lived experience actually support these claims? And so we got to remember that they show us one particular side of women, for example. And so the example we gave in episode 0 was that they talked a lot with people like Miami strippers or OnlyFans whores or, you know, whoever, Costco deli section woman that they found off the street in Florida. This really skews our perception of things because that's all they show. Or they give you statistics specifically from Tinder. Like the people who use Tinder or deal with any kind of thing like that, they're already a particular kind of person, right? And if it's someone you don't even want, then that's not even relevant to you, right? Because is anyone with a good head on their shoulders committing themselves to Miami strippers? Probably not. Are we letting people like that influence our worldviews? And are we aware of the bias that comes with it? Certainly things that can really help us to wrap our heads around whether or not we can overcome that. Another cultural tenet that they kind of like hold to be true is that you got to get shredded or get your money up if you want any kind of girl to love you. If we could think about if this actually is reflected by our lived experience again. So if we go to a mall or we go to a public place and we see couples, are they all going to be tens? Of course not. Are they all going to be billionaires? Of course not. And we look into our own lives and we see people who aren't super rich or who aren't incredibly attractive, and they still have people who love them, or they still have a partner of any sort. Whether it's healthy or not is off the table, but is that actually a metric we should be using for determining if we could be loved? Of course not. And then lastly, trying to tack on to the Tinder stats and Miami strippers point, they kind of give the impression to their fan base anyways that all women are whores, right? And we already went into this a little bit before and in episode 0. When we can apply these generalizations to ourselves, we start to see how things fall apart, right? Like, are all guys into feet or senior citizens, right? Of course not. But then we can also say the same about, all girls want money or shredded people, right? There are people into a variety of different things, right? Even among your own friend group, chances are, even with people you actually vibe with, you're going to have diversity in how you guys are approaching life, what you actually want in a partner, and what your actual preferences are, even aesthetically, right? Because people are different. It's a difficult thing to wrap your head around because we're so bombarded with the same, really, a narrative. And then once we see things for what they are, and we're able to get these counter views that are healthier and more reflective of reality, we start to catch these things a little better.